Hey there, welcome to the Real Short Box. I'm Jarrett.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Donald.
Whoa, guys. Before we get to all this, there's a few people here that have just passed that I think we need to pay a quick little respect to. Chuck Berry and Bernie Wrightson has just recently passed in the last couple days here, and maybe we can talk a little bit about it, about each guy. And
Why don't you talk about Chuck Berry, Mr.
Jared Galante here. Chuck Berry, one of the last living legends of rock and roll, has passed.
One of the innovators.
One of the innovators. I had the good fortune of seeing Mr. Berry at a hootenanny in Orange County.
Oh, a hootenanny.
Yeah, it's literally. I don't know if they still do them, but it's like the rockabilly, Lollapalooza, like music fest kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
And they do them. And if you ever want to see a sea of wife beaters and pompadours, go to the hootenanny.
Really?
Yeah, it's the most like rockabillys you will see in one designated area.
Wow.
But I think that year Social Distortion was opening in there, or not opening, headlining. They're one of my favorites. And then I was like, oh, Chuck Berry's playing.
What year was this?
God, this was like when I was new to Los Angeles, so this is probably like 2001, 2002. And got to see him. He did his whole the duck walk or whatever he would do, where you could go across the stage playing the guitar.
Nice.
And it was just really cool, and he's a living legend. It was great to see him. And one of the cool little tidbits that I heard that he had never changed was one of his things, because I don't think he had a manager or anything like that. One of his deals, if you hired Chuck Berry to play your concert, he would show up, and on the day of the concert, you had to have a suitcase of cash for whatever his payment was.
Interesting.
Yeah, I was like, that's kind of old school and straight up badass. Like, like, all right, where's the suitcase? Here it is. All right, I played the show. Thanks. And like played a show. I don't remember much personality. I just remember like a hell of a show. Came in, did his thing, got off, and I was like, and he got his suitcase of cash. So rest in peace, Mr. Chuck Berry. Your ding-a-ling will live on throughout history.
Enjoy your suitcase of cash.
Of heaven cash.
Yeah, sure. Wherever.
The cash
wherever
of
you are.
angels.
Yes, God bless your soul, sir.
And who else did we?
Bernie
lose?
Wrightson.
Yeah, the big one. This one hit me pretty hard. It wasn't too long ago. He was in Long Beach at a convention, and this was right before I think he had a stroke or a heart attack here not too long ago.
I heard that he was sick for like some time.
Yeah, so before he fell ill, he was there at a booth, like just sitting there with his wife. I think it was his wife, and they were just sitting there, and nobody was at his table. And I walked past, and I'm like, oh, well, I'll catch him next time. Well, then, like, he got sick, and I never recovered, really. So that was...
Seize your opportunity, people.
Yeah.
If you see your heroes, your legends, go say hi. Shake their hand, at least.
Yeah, or at least attempt to, and if they run off screaming, that's on them.
Yeah.
Not you.
Hold the hand for a while.
Look him dead in the eye.
I'll say one quick thing about him. When I saw that he died, and a lot of the Palookas on our Facebook friend page, the Super Palookas were talking about like, oh, God rest his soul, and I was like, I'm totally honest. I was like, I don't know who this is, and I looked him up, and immediately I knew his art. Mm-hmm. But then I started looking at his art. Some of the most beautiful
illustrations,
such detail, and especially in that Frankenstein stuff. Oh my God!
Speaking of that Frankenstein. This has to also affect Guillermo del Toro.
As a matter of fact, he did say something about it on Twitter.
Yeah, that makes sense, because in his exhibit that he had for LACMA,
right,
he had some original pieces of that Frankenstein monster painting book thing, whatever he did. He had some original pieces of that up on the wall there at LACMA.
Yeah,
and he was a huge fan.
Any monster fan, classic monster fan was a fan of this guy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and also I believe he did like movie illustrations, like during pre-development or during.
Oh, I believe it. Yeah. Very detailed. The man was a master of his craft.
Yeah, just literally Google him and look at the images.
Pre-production sketches, I think, things like that. Yeah.
Right.
Creepy magazine. Swamp Thing,
Swamp Thing is a big
any of
one.
that stuff. You just Google him and you'll find a treasure trove of beauty.
Yeah, no one is going to compare to that.
He
guy.
is up there with the Jack Kirby's, the Jim Starankos.
For sure.
Oh my God, yes.
You know,
Yeah,
Yeah.
easily.
He's to me he's in another sub level because
Right.
of it wasn't easy writing horror, and drawing horror books and stuff.
Right.
Not easy at all. And for him to be at that level, and be up there with to like put up with, you were always seen as lesser, I think, if you did horror comics and stuff back
Right,
in
if
the
you were
day.
just like a genre.
Yeah, it's kind of like
Actually,
doing-
horror anything. Horror movies.
Yeah, I was
horror
just gonna
TV,
say like doing
horror
slasher
books.
films or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, same thing.
No, and he's one of those comic artists where I would stress the word artist in the title because
Absolutely.
a lot of times you look at like, there's a really good artist, comic book artist too. It's almost like they have such a love for the medium that they're sacrificing being taken seriously in a sense. Like, because this guy easily could have pictures up at a museum. I mean, he's that talented in his work.
Absolutely.
And there's so many other artists like that I'm just like, people look at this, they go, it's a comic book, but I'm like, look at that frame, look at that panel. That's beautiful.
Right.
Like, that
Tell
is
me that's
beautiful.
not art.
Yeah,
you're,
tell me
you're
that's
a
not
fool
art.
if you
Exactly.
think it isn't.
Well, in fact, I think from here on out, his work will be displayed in museums, as they should be.
I think.
They should be.
What we're going to be doing, though, guys, is we're going to post a few pieces of our favorite Bernie Wrightson art up on our Facebook page
Yeah.
and Instagram, and we'll have it linked with Twitter as well. So you can log on to one of our social media outlets and check it out.
Yeah.
That way you can see what we have to offer in other aspects. Plus, you don't have to bother with Google. You can go straight to the source.
Yeah, don't even
which
Google.
is us.
We're giving it to you.
The right
for
source.
free.
The only
hand,
source.
hand to mouth, right there.
And how? Hand, foot, mouth of Bernie Wrightson. We're giving you that.
Yep, that's better than mouth, ass to mouth.
Yeah. Yeah. You're going to be good in our loving, infected hands. Well, now, so that'll wrap
Yeah.
up our
So
eulogies.
Let's get back to what we were talking about here now.
Our topic is going to be, what is our favorite superhero movies?
It's like 100 of them out there.
There's now there's a ton of them, and there's a lot of great ones because we're very fortunate.
And
We're very
some mediocre
blessed.
ones.
And some mediocre and some just shit, some downright crap shit. My choice is
Blade Trinity.
That's crazy. You got it. No, my choice is Matthew Vaughn's X-Men First Class.
Oh my goodness! Now that was
Wow.
that is a modern day surprise classic.
Is it though?
Oh no, I can see people arguing. I know people who downright don't like it, don't like any of that, the First Class stuff.
I only had one problem with it, and it was that one girl that had wings.
Yes, I will agree. That was
the one that
was
Zoe
like-
Kravitz played.
that's
yes, the
Lenny
worst
Kravitz's daughter,
mutant character ever.
Angel.
Yeah, just
Angel.
awful.
Yeah,
I hate that character.
yeah, she was a pretty weak character, and her storyline was pretty weak. I will agree with that. What I did love about it, though, was one, Matthew Vaughn. I didn't know much about him. I did see Kick-Ass. He directed Kick-Ass. I like him. He's got a real style, and I saw the first Bryan Singer X-Men films, and I was never really a big fan of them. I did like X2, but mainly because of Nightcrawler, and I thought that was their strongest story. But I just thought there was no real heart or soul to the characters. They didn't really give any motivations behind anybody. It was just, I don't know, it was just a bunch of leather suits and...
Berserk Wolverine, man.
Yeah, no, Hugh Jackman was born to play Wolverine. For sure. I will say that. I'm not even a fan of the Wolverine movies, per se, but I think in the X-Men films, he's a standout.
But he also made it into First Class, did he not?
He's got like
Yeah,
a
but
split sec. He's got an awesome scene where he says
the
like,
F word. Says the
fuck
F word.
off
Yeah.
when they're trying to do a recruitment.
Yeah.
But let's take it back. So the story, basically, if you haven't seen it, is an origin story of the X-Men. It's all about the young X-Men, young Professor Xavier, young Magneto,
This show in black tights.
yeah, and young Mystique. This was a movie where they really actually make Mystique into a very strong movie character, and as well as a strong, almost a
Three-dimensional character.
three-dimensional character, and good. You know, there's definitely some gray spots. They all have gray spots, but Jennifer Lawrence, the character they make is good, or noble, I should say. Michael Fassbender, I think, is just one of the greatest modern actors out there right now, and I hate him because he's also incredibly good looking. He's one of those guys who's got it all, and usually one person has one thing or the other, and and I hate that.
I mean, he's no Steve Buscemi, but
no, exactly.
So men want to be like him, and women want him.
Well, want to be inside him.
Indeed.
But live inside his skin. No,
Indeed.
But he kicks. He is such a great Magneto, and the whole like Nazi hunting stuff in the beginning, where they just show him tracking down all the people who tortured him in the concentration camp.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, James McAvoy, who I'm not really that big a fan of, knocks it out of the park as Professor Xavier. He's kind of as like a young Xavier. I just think he's great. Although my wife and I have a joke that it's like the only way, because Magneto can show his powers by contorting his face and moving his hands, and everybody can like shoot stuff or do something. His power is of the mind. So if you notice that every time he's using his power in the movie, he touches his temple with his 2 fingers. So if he's using his power, you know he's using it because he touches his temple. No reason why you would have to do that if you had that power, but it's just to show it. So the Nazi hunting stuff, I love. Also the villains in it. I love the Hellfire.
Bacon.
Well, I love the Hellfire Club.
Yes.
And Sebastian Shaw is one of my favorite villains. I think he's such a cool guy. They dress in this like, what is it, like 16th century clothes. They look very colonial. I mean, in this they don't really go that route, but they definitely are like very classy and like upper crust and all that. And they have the White Queen.
Kevin Bacon nails it.
Kevin Bacon is one of my favorite, not my favorite superhero villain. That's another topic for another day in movies, but he's on my top 5 for sure. I think he just kills it as Sebastian Shaw. He's got this arrogance.
He's great. Yeah, just phenomenal.
Yeah, just and he's a great actor. I love.
He's been in a few movies. I don't know if you knew
done
that.
There's almost like it's almost like you could kind of connect like people through like degrees of whatever. That's just me. But then what I also loved is the choice of once they start doing their recruitment, they didn't stick, and I've let this go a long time ago. I used to be a hardcore purist, but they don't stick with like the exact origins of people. For instance, they have Banshee in it, and he's not Irish, which is like a token thing for Banshee, the character used from Ireland. It was just him.
I take offense to it.
I take offense to it.
Yeah.
But I love that they included Banshee. I love that they included Havoc. I love that they included
Havoc's awesome.
Even random characters like Darwin, who was in the Deadly Genesis story, who I think has got one of the coolest powers too. He can adapt to any situation. I think that's cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And you got Beast. You get to see Beast in non-fur and blue fur, and it's just I just thought it was they handled a big cast. They handled a big story. It also had ties to real history. They deal with like the Cuban Missile Crisis and everything like that. And whereas I really do like, I think close behind it, Days of Future Past would be another favorite. And I enjoyed Apocalypse more than most people, but I just don't think they had the same feel once Bryan Singer took back over.
Yeah, didn't have the same heart and soul.
Right. I really love what Matthew Vaughn created some vibe in it that just made it fun.
Didn't Bryan Singer do the one before that though too, right?
But he did all the ones. Well, no, he did all the first original X-Men.
Well, after
films.
First Class, he did the one set in the 70s.
That's what I'm saying. He did that, which I liked a lot.
That wasn't the Age of Apocalypse.
No,
Days of Future Past.
He did Days of Future Past and
that was
Apocalypse.
really well done.
Well, that's what I'm
too,
saying. Days of Future
But
Past was a close second.
But I think Matthew
right.
kind of set it up already for him.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
yeah, I don't think Singer would have had the success he had with those other two if Vaughn didn't set it up. Yeah, because
Right.
That's why I wanted Vaughn to come back to do X-Men Apocalypse Day, to be honest with you. I think it would have
I
been
wanted
awesome.
him to do all three, to be honest. And
Right.
you know, I do, like I said, Days of Future Past actually really kicks ass. I think it's a really fun film, and the more I watch it, the more I enjoy it. But First Class, to me, it's just a fun film. It's a fun X-Men film. It actually felt like a real X-Men story to me. Like young mutants learning their powers, you know, finding, you know, choosing sides. And Fassbender, it was just so good as Magneto.
Just the rage.
Yeah. The rage, and you can...
That
and
range of rage
Yeah,
that he
exactly.
could display was
range
amazing.
is what you... Yeah, exactly.
It's fine acting right there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he did Ian McKellen proud. You know, you can see him as the young Ian McKellen playing this character.
Mm-hmm.
If we're talking Ian McKellen, let's be honest. I've always seen in the comic books and in the cartoons and stuff, Magneto's always been strong. He might have been older, but he was ripped. Ripped. And when they put Ian McKellen in there,
frail.
I was like, who the fudge is
Too
this
frail.
old fart
Yeah.
doing? You know,
Yeah.
who is this guy? Why is he in these movies?
Right. From the neck up, awesome.
And then he spoke,
Yeah.
and I went, "Oh wow,
with power.
that
Grace.
like if they just had Ian McKellen's acting skills in the body
Right.
of a little bit younger, beefier man,
Right.
it would have been perfect. But for what we got, I was completely satisfied
Yeah.
after seeing it.
Right.
But upon initial viewing, I was like, no, this ain't my Magneto.
And it's hard to go back and watch those other ones because I got all pumped to watch those ones again since they do kind of pseudo connect
Yeah.
with the First Class stuff. Although they do a really good job of explaining all that away, the good and the bad, of like making it work and taking away what doesn't work.
Right.
But like, it's just hard. Some of it's hard to like. No offense, Rebecca Romijn. She's very pretty and she's not a bad actress, but she just doesn't hold a candle to Jennifer Lawrence. So it's like you can't go back and watch that Mystique, who was not about having any like character. It was just about like the look.
Right. Well, I
Yeah.
mean, that's the way she was written,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right.
Nothing against Rebecca Romijn, but just against
Material you had to work
the
with.
writing, the material you had to work with. Absolutely.
Yeah. So yeah, that is mine. Just to throw it out there, a close like second, might even be interchangeable, would be what was the last Batman movie? The Dark Knight Rises.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was definitely any of the Nolan films.
You're a big Bane fan.
I love Bane, yeah, and I love Tom Hardy, and Tom Hardy killed it in that.
Gotham's
Reckoning. That was like Yoda.
It's like, it was.
It's like a Sean Connery Yoda.
Of course. I think I'll go next, particularly because I kind of cheated and I brought two ideas to the table. So I'm gonna do one fully and then I'll do a quick one to cap on the end.
I think The Garbage Pail Kids was a great movie. I just don't know if it's a superhero movie.
No, it was super terrible. Is what it was. It wasn't a superhero movie at all. In fact, I rewatched it recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Garbage Pail, and it is awful.
I saw it in a theater. It was me and one other person because I was still into the cards. Remember the cards?
Oh yeah.
And I was like, I got to see this movie. And it was playing in one like shitty theater, and like a guy who was babysitting me took me to see it, and it was just like I just remember being really creepy and weird.
Yeah, that's exactly it. They should have called it the Creepy and Weird Kids. The creepy costume kid. It was just terrible. Just terrible story. Just lazy and awful, and I would never
It was
want to
also
watch
like
it again.
3 years too late or something, right? It was like the fad had kind of died down, I think.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, that's the problem with a lot of those types of movies is they bring it out as it's dying off.
like Masters of the Universe, the
Yeah,
He-Man film.
yeah, exactly. Which I find to actually be a pretty good film for what it is.
Yeah.
By the way, this year's 30th anniversary.
You know,
of that
Canon
movie.
did their best. I mean,
Canon kicked ass.
they literally shut the production down
Really?
and was not going to let them finish the film. It was that bad for Canon at that point in time. It was rough. So, you know, some of the stuff that they put together on the shoestring budget that they did is
Oh,
amazing.
Canon, it's great. And what's that
Yeah.
There's a documentary, Full Tilt. No,
There's two. There's
Electric Boogaloo.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah.
Great. Yeah. And then the guys that created Canon did their own documentary,
Yes.
Oh, I'm sure
which
that
was not as good
Yeah.
from what I'm told. But if you watch Electric Boogaloo, it really makes sense that those guys would do that.
Yep. Yeah.
That they wouldn't want to participate in that and then go and make their own.
Oh yeah.
It's
yeah.
just the
And
kind
also,
of guys.
weren't they
that-
involved
We're
with
not
Superman
gonna-
4 as well?
Yeah,
Checking that
what was
out?
the Quest for Peace?
Yeah, Quest for Peace.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah, that was a big mistake too. Like they got greedy.
Yeah.
They thought they could
They
hang
came out
with
the
the
same
big
year
guns.
too. That one and Masters Universe came out the same year.
Yeah, and that's what did them in. They overextended.
I didn't realize watching that documentary. I didn't realize how many films of my childhood that they made.
American Ninja.
All the American Ninja films.
Bloodsport.
Mm-hmm.
Alan Quartermain films, I believe.
Uh-huh.
Firewalker, basically every Chuck Norris and Charles Bronson film.
Uh-huh.
And it had that great logo open. That doo doo doo.
Yeah.
And they sold yeah. So
Yeah.
that was so cool.
Great stuff. But my long list consisted of Batman Mask of the Phantasm,
Ooh.
Captain America 2, X-Men 2, X-Men United, Dread, Kick-Ass, The Mask, Mystery Men, Spider-Man 2, and Teenage Mutant Ninja
You
Turtles.
said Judge Dredd. Which one?
Dread, not Judge
Oh,
Dredd.
oh.
Okay. Although I do enjoy Judge Dredd for what it was, it just wasn't a good film. That's one you watch drunk. But what I ultimately settled on was Unbreakable.
Right.
And that's not probably going to be popular by people because it's not a traditional superhero film. It's not a Superman story. It's not an X-Men thing. It's not a
It's got,
you know
it's got
Marvel,
like,
DC.
it's
None
like
of
a
that.
hidden meta superhero film.
Right. It is a superhero film that didn't know it was a superhero film.
Right.
Like you didn't know it was a superhero film until you got near the end of the film.
Right.
Samuel L. Jackson played the character of Elijah Price, I think.
Yes, I believe so.
And in 1961, he was born with a rare disease that renders sufferers' bones extremely fragile and prone to fracture.
Right.
As revealed, they reveal it later in flashbacks. Elijah, he grows up to become a comic book art dealer, and in doing that, and with the condition he has, he develops a theory based on the comics he has read, and that's during the many hospital stays he's been in as a child. Reading these books, he develops this theory that if he represents extreme human frailty, there must be like a yin to his yang. So there has to be someone unbreakable at the opposite extreme. So he develops this theory in thinking that there has to be someone out there. So he begins his search. Years later, there's another man in Philadelphia. He's also searching for his meaning in life, and he's given up a promising career when he was in college to marry, and was wondering if that's the right path. His marriage is dissolving, and as he's returning home from a job interview, he gets on a plane. The plane, with 131 other passengers, crashes, and miraculously, he is the only survivor.
Okay.
So Elijah is viewing this on TV and finds that to be rather odd.
Right.
That a man that crashes with 131 other passengers, plane pretty much just is disintegrated, and this one guy, David, survives.
Right.
So Elijah begins to suspect that he's found his unbreakable, his opposite. Now, as we go further into the film, we come to understand that David is learning about these powers that he has. He's starting to believe he has become invincible, invulnerable, very strong. He starts lifting weights. It becomes impossible for him to hit a limit on the amount
I
of
remember
weights
that
he
was
can
one of
lift.
the few scenes I remember. They kept stacking weights onto the...
Right, yeah. So him and Elijah eventually meet, and Elijah convinces him that he needs to become a hero. He can sense, David can also sense things. He can sense, like, people's intentions.
Right.
So if they walk near him, he can hear their thoughts. He can understand what they're going to do. So they find a serious situation where somebody's going to bomb, I believe, some train station or something like that. David goes there to save everybody and somehow pulls it off, saves everybody. And in doing so, we eventually learn that a lot of the situations that took place were created by Elijah,
Okay.
who calls himself Mr. Glass.
Right.
And he says, "What is a good superhero without a great supervillain? I could not be the supervillain, the quintessential supervillain, without my hero. And I found you. Thank you. Now we must face each other." And it was the weirdest thing ever to create this type of scenario where you have no idea what's going on in this movie, and it just develops so slowly and so perfectly into this
together.
perfect, quiet little superhero film about a man finding his way and becoming a hero, and another man finding his way and becoming an ultimate villain.
Right.
And just the two of them facing off, and the two opposites, the yin and the yang, that has to connect.
And it all makes sense at the end too. Like the story builds very well. It builds up to
very
the
well-
climax. To the climax when
very
you
well
see
crafted.
it's revealed.
I never saw this because we were talking beforehand. It's M. Night
Shyamalan.
When he first hit the scene with The Sixth Sense, everybody was talking about him, and they were talking about, oh my god, the thing at the end, the little trick, the thing. So it's like I started watching his movies, and everything was all about. That was like his gimmick almost. It was like the little thing
One
that's
trick
gonna
pony he's been accused of. Yeah.
gonna get you at the end. But Unbreakable was the one film that people who were dissenters and people who were pro him all agreed was a really cool movie. So and then I didn't even know about the whole superhero aspect. So it's like, yeah, I've never seen it. I've seen parts of it. I saw the weight part. I think I even saw the ending when he's like, I'm Mr. Glass. You know, he's explaining it to him like this is the whole thing. And it looked really cool. It was totally because it wasn't promoted like that. It was just the next M. Night Shyamalan film, and it was,
and it was another Bruce Willis,
right.
starring
That's
role.
right.
Bruce Willis, I didn't mention earlier, played David.
And Samuel Jackson, kind of
the
a little
hero.
Pulp Fiction reunion.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh my god, I didn't even think about that. Yeah.
So it's just a great film, and I definitely think that we need a reaction video of you watching it.
Yeah, I'd love to see it.
You know, that'll be like our 5th reaction video of things Jared hasn't seen or read or watched. But yeah, I mean, I know it's not like a superhero film, and it's not something that runs under the umbrella of any comic book, but it is written by someone that obviously had a lot of care towards the genre and a lot of passion towards writing the story, which was surprising to me for it to be his follow-up. I did enjoy The Sixth Sense. I did not see it coming because I was one of the first ones in the theater to watch it, so I had no idea. But for this to be a follow-up, I think it's by far the superior film and his best film he's written and directed in since. But it's a very good story. Highly recommend it. But with that, I think we're going to move on to Kevin.
What do you got, Kevin?
Well, I have a lot of films that I was thinking about, but I figured let me just pick one out of my favorite 5, and that would be Captain America: The Winter Soldier.
Oh, so good.
It was a great film.
I think that's probably still my favorite Marvel movie.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's up there.
It definitely set the bar for how good Marvel movies and comic book movies could be. Like, as far as like an intricate, well-done story that you don't even realize is a superhero film.
And also, it was a coming out party for the Russo brothers, Joe and Anthony.
Yeah, they both came out as gay, right?
Interesting. For each other, or
yeah, they said brotherly love means more to us than you would think.
And what's awesome about this,
and we made this film.
and what's awesome about this movie is, if you're not a superhero fan, movie fan, this would be a movie for you because it's not so much about being a superhero. It kind of had a throwback to like the 1970s.
It was like an espionage thriller,
spy thriller.
Right.
And how great is it that you bring Robert Redford into the picture? He fits perfect because he was part of those movies, like the 7 Days of the Condor, and
that movie had one of my favorite Marvel lines ever. You had the late great Gary Shandling whispering, "Hail Hydra."
Yes.
How fucking cool. Also, in any world, if you told me like, one day you're going to watch a movie with that guy Gary Shandling, the funny guy you see on TV, and he's going to say, "Hail Hydra."
You would never believe it.
No, I'd be like, shut the fuck up.
Well, even better. Can you imagine? Who would have thought that Robert Redford would do a comic book movie?
A comic book movie, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. Robert Redford, serious actor.
He brought a lot of clout to Captain America, too.
Yeah.
And the thing
when people heard that, they paid attention.
Yeah. And the thing is, the way he acted in the movie, you could tell he respected the material. Mm-hmm. He wanted to be in the movie. He was a great character. Alexander Pierce. He played it well. Being like an equivalent to Nick Fury, to Samuel Jackson. Matter of fact, those two together in the same room.
Right.
That was awesome.
Mm-hmm. No, I love me some Redford.
Yeah, another Sam Jackson film.
Yes, another Sam Jackson film. We got a little trend here going here.
Yeah.
Well, he's a legit, I think, pretty open comic book sci-fi, like just pop culture fan, from what I gather.
Absolutely.
Snakes on a plane.
Snakes on a plane. And also, this movie introduced Mr. Wilson.
That's right, the Falcon.
The Falcon.
Yeah. Oh, I thought you were talking about Wilson Fisk. I was like,
well, no, that's a different one.
No,
yeah, you didn't know. It's an Easter egg. He's
I'll be damned.
And the thing is, you had a plot within the hidden plot. Knowing that you find out that S.H.I.E.L.D. was infiltrated.
Oh, that's right.
By Hydra.
Yeah, and this also made the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. TV show actually watchable.
Right.
Because it was terrible, like just awful from the moment it came out up until like April until the movie came out, and then they connected it, and then everything just turned on its ear. Right. And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. for a season and a half, was awesome.
Yeah.
And then it took a shit again, but it was awesome for that season and a half.
So bad,
so good.
It's hard.
Oh, I have to correct myself. I said 7 Days of the Condor. It's 3 Days of the Condor.
All right, we'll take away -4.
Take away -4. But what's awesome about this movie? First, it starts out with that battle against Batroc.
Yeah, the Leaper, Batroc, the Leaper, played by I'm a mixed martial arts fan, George St. Pierre,
George St. Pierre.
who at the time was the UFC welterweight
Champion of the world. Yes,
yeah,
he was.
and still one of the greatest fighters we've ever had. And it was such a perfect role for him because one, he's French Canadian, so he could do the accent, and then it was like they took these characters that some of them are really big and boisterous and made them like real world, and they made Batroc like a terrorist and like. But he still was good at literally kicking ass. And, Leaping, yeah.
And also, they had a good job of keeping you on your seat wondering about the fate of Nick Fury.
Right.
Oh, yeah. When he went
to
being
go underground,
attacked
right?
In that SUV.
Oh, my God. That's
was
a great
awesome.
scene.
That is a great chase scene if there ever was one.
One also just your first introduction to the Winter Soldier.
Oh, my goodness.
Is continuity-wise using the actor who played Bucky in the first Captain America
Absolutely.
film, who wasn't...
I didn't think anything about. I was like,
No,
this guy's
yeah.
like bullshit. when
He
I
was just
watched
kind
it.
of a throwaway
Yeah,
character
right,
in it.
yeah.
No, they were smart. They kept him.
They kept him, and that easily could have been like a role for some hot other actor,
Nope.
you know, like wants to play the Winter Soldier.
Now, the scene when they first confront each other and he catches the shield, how awesome was that when you
Yeah.
saw
Oh,
that?
it's great.
I was like, oh, shoot, this man means business.
He's in it to win it.
He's in
No,
it
that
to
was
win
a
it.
trail. I remember watching that trailer, and the movie lived up to the hype of that trailer because that trailer was badass as soon as they showed all
That's
that.
the only Marvel movie I think I've seen over 4 times.
Yeah,
You can
I
watch
saw
it a fifth and sixth
I saw
time.
it 2 or 3 times in the theater. It was insane.
I will even go on to say that out of all the Marvel films, in consecutively, the Captain America films have been the strongest.
Yeah.
Because even the first one was fun. Like, it was like to see his origin. I thought they did his Red Skull stuff got a little convoluted, but
right.
but
First
his
one's weak as
but,
far as I'm concerned.
but his origin stuff I
setup.
thought was really cool. The setup was really cool.
Right.
And
the whole
obviously,
face thing bothered me, where they took his face and put it on a smaller
yes,
person.
they haven't. They didn't master that yet. And They
Yeah.
still obviously haven't.
No, they
if
have
you've
not.
seen Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Right.
Yes, yes indeed.
Although they did it great on Robert Downey Jr. in Captain America
Captain
Civil
America,
War.
yes.
But you know what it was with that? He was staying still, I think. He wasn't moving much. And I also think they had great reference footage of Robert Downey Jr.'s young face.
Yes.
So
agree.
it wasn't like some animatronic, like Pirates of the Caribbean General Tarkin thing that they did in Rogue One.
Right. Did work very well.
Yeah.
I think, if you look at it, Captain America 1 was a decent setup. It was
Right.
like, okay, but we can't continue on this path because we need these to be better.
Yeah.
And then second, they just went, holy shit, we've knocked this out of the park. Oh my God, what did we do? They immediately went back to the well and then came up with Civil War.
Which is basically Avengers 3.
2.5.
Right.
2.5.
Which is great. I mean, how
just-
do you go higher than Civil War? How do you do that? The only way is if you do something like that, or, you go cosmically, which the Avengers are already going to be doing. So,
Right.
Russo brothers taking care of that as well.
yeah.
Right. Oh, man. No,
Infinity
I
War.
just recently watched Civil War again, and it's just fine.
It's cool.
It's just fun.
I mean, the fact that they introduced 2 characters, Black Panther and Spider-Man, into that, and it did it seamlessly. It was natural. It didn't feel like it was forced.
because each actor like owned their role.
Yes.
And obviously the writing like
Yep.
structured it so that you got,
Especially the Spider-Man introduction, that had to be done very well because you could have easily screwed that up.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
To
done.
take that time, that moment. Everybody had their little moment, which is
Yep.
great. Ant-Man.
Ant-Man- exactly.
Turning into Giant
Everybody-
Man.
Oh, I'm a huge Hank Pym fan, and even though it's Scott Lang, but I loved Hank Pym because he would be Giant Man, sometimes he'd be Ant-Man, Yellow Jacket, Goliath, and he had some of my favorite costumes. So seeing Giant Man in a film like done justice was just so fucking cool. Like I was just
Scarlet Witch and Vision, them.
Vision I
against
think
each
is
other.
great. Yeah. Vision, I think the Paul Bettany guy is great as a Vision, and they make him like a powerhouse too. I like that.
Yeah, definitely. It was a good mix. Great characters. Just been solid overall. The whole Captain America.
And Miss
mythos.
Romanoff, and going back to Winter Soldier,
Oh yeah,
she was great.
when she
Yeah,
was on
they've-
the lam with him on the run. That was awesome.
And also the little plot twist with her at the end where she infiltrated, that meeting at the end, where Pierce thought he had it all wrapped up.
Oh right.
Yeah,
That was awesome.
yeah. It's a great way to make a character that to me is very weak, really strong,
Yeah.
and I liked that. I thought it
Scarlett
was
Johansson,
very smart.
Scarlett Johansson, she owns the role.
But she grew into the role,
grew
I
into the
think.
role.
Yeah.
I definitely
She owns it.
Because especially by the time you get to Civil War, she's just like I remember Avengers going, meh, Black Widow, whatever. But by the time Civil War is out, I'm like, yeah, she's badass.
Also, she seems to switch men a lot. You know, she's
In the movie or in real life?
no. No. But just
Because
throughout,
there's an argument for both.
no. But throughout the Marvel films, you know, first, you know, she's kind of like on Captain America a little bit, and then she's on the Hulk, or Bruce Banner, so to speak.
Yeah.
She's an independent woman who.
Yeah, she is.
Well, if you read the comics, that's kind of the way she was.
Yeah.
She was with Daredevil for a while.
Right.
Big on him. I think even Hawkeye for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
like her and him. And I don't want to say she gets around, but, you know, I mean, she's stuck with certain men all the time. You're going to start dating within that pool, and that just makes common sense to me. You know?
She knows what she wants. She knows
Right.
what she wants. She goes after it.
Right. It's a strong woman, strong
Yeah.
character. I'm okay with that.
So basically, we can go on and on about a million other movies too. I'm sure we will. And also, movies are going to keep coming out because superheroes have taken over the world, and that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
And now, if you go and look at the X-23 book, for you know, we talk about first appearances a lot.
Yeah.
I was like, I'm not even a big X-23 fan at all, but I was like, just out of curiosity,
That's
it's in the $400, $500,
$600
$600
range now,
range.
right?
what I love to hear.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Donald's like, I think I got that. I was like, sell it. Just
Yeah,
sell
and
it.
I
Yeah.
immediately put it up on eBay.
Yeah.
The first and second appearance of her,
Yeah.
I put up for $700. We'll see what happens. In fact, I'll let you guys know what happens.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But just real quick, since I kind of thought we were doing two, and I'm sorry, I'm just going to mention this really fast. My second one that I brought was Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. It's technically a comic book movie because
EC Books,
it's
EC Comics.
Tales from the
Comics.
Crypt, yeah.
It's one of my favorite horror films when I was a kid, actually, particularly because there wasn't a lot of blood and guts,
Uh-huh.
but there was still enough gore in there that I felt like an adult, and it was awesome.
a
Like I was
horror
like, oh
film.
yeah, you know, it had Billy Zane doing his best, Michael Keaton Beetlejuice.
Really?
It was amazing.
By the
if
way,
you have
Billy
not seen
Zane
it.
was another movie, The Phantom.
Right. Oh, that's true.
And
And that is
Titanic.
also another one of my favorites. The Phantom. I know I have terrible tastes in movies sometimes when it comes to superheroes, but I love that 90s run where they just kept throwing shit against the wall to see what would stick.
Alec
that was-
Baldwin, The Shadow.
Right, because he couldn't get Batman. He was like, I'll do the Shadow.
Spawn,
fine."
the god-awful Spawn.
Oh, that was awful. The only thing that was good about it was the clown.
John Leguizamo.
John
Yeah,
Leguizamo.
John Leguizamo. He was the only good thing about it. But Tales from the Crypt had William Sadler in it, Jada Pinkett Smith, who was just Jada Pinkett at the time, CCH Pounder, and Thomas Hayden Church, plus the always great Dick Miller.
Dick Miller.
So if you ever find yourself kind of bored, or if it's around Halloween time, or you just want to watch a good horror film, I recommend it. It's solid. It's just fun, silly. It's not too over the top, scary. It's not too lame. It's kind of cheesy, kind of laughable, but it has some jumps for it. The costuming's great. It's the demons in there look awesome. Just some of the scenes are really fun. It's just a really good campy horror film, and those are the kind I really like. So I recommend, if you get time, check out Tales from the Crypt, Demon Knight. That was the second one I brought in, and that's really all I was going to go over with that. There's story and background to it, but you'll find out when you watch it.
Also, I highly recommend The Punisher with Dolph Lundgren. Because you'll just laugh and it'll be fun.
Which I recently watched.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Does it hold
about
up?
4 months ago.
I remember liking
watched
it as a kid because I was like, they made a movie about the Punisher.
It holds up,
Yeah?
I think. Yeah.
If they
I
would have
enjoyed
just
it.
given him the skull, like shirt or anything,
Yeah, so that was
it would have made
Yeah.
it I would have actually been like on board with that movie still to this day. But I remember some good action in it.
Yeah.
I also
It-
remember a
it's
naked
definitely-
Dolph Lundgren like praying to a fire in the sewer.
That happens more than once.
Yeah,
It's a little
yeah.
awkward, yeah.
And Louis Gossett Jr., can't forget him.
He doesn't pray naked to a fire.
Well, no. It doesn't forget Fire.
No, although he was in Fire Walker
Yes.
with Chuck Norris, which is also another canon film.
And he was an Iron Eagle.
Like the Top Gun thing. There was Top Gun, then there was Iron Eagle. You
Right.
know, it's great stuff. Yeah, these movies, they're going to keep coming out, whether they're going to be good and bad, good or bad.
Yeah, Guardians 2, I'm looking for that.
Guardians of the Galaxy 2, yeah, that'll be
Spider-Man
great.
Homecoming.
That
Wonder
looks really
Woman.
good.
Wonder
Justice
Woman.
League.
Justice League.
Now the one when you were talking about movies that were coming out for 2017, we never went over the Lego Batman film.
Oh my goodness, yes.
That looks really
Forgive me
good.
for that.
Drop the ball on that one.
That looks really
and
good.
probably by the time this episode airs, it'll have already come out.
Yeah.
So, just so you guys know, we apologize about dropping that idea.
Yeah,
But it looks amazing.
Yeah, well, the Lego movie was great, and the Batman character in it was amazing. So, and this,
Spin it off. Give him his
Yeah.
own movie.
Yep.
the Robin. I'm not a big Michael Cera fan, but he looks the stuff he's doing in it is pretty hilarious.
Yeah, it looks like a lot of fun. So I'm definitely going to be checking that out, and I recommend you guys do too.
All right, so
But I guess-
that'll
yeah.
do it for us. I'm Jarrett.
I'm Kevin.
And I'm Donald.
Subscribe, love it, share it, check out the YouTube channel, and we'll see you at the comic shop.